For 11 years, this finance team closed the books the same exact way. 5 days just to reconcile. 3 days to consolidate. 2 days of review. 10 days, every month, like clockwork. Spreadsheets everywhere, manual checks, late nights, and that weird feeling you get when you're staring at numbers that already feel old. And here's the part that should make every CFO wince a little. By the time the numbers were finally locked, they were describing a version of the business from 10 days ago. It's like trying to drive by looking only in the rearview mirror, except the rearview mirror is delayed. Then they rolled out an AI-powered financial system. And yeah, the time savings were real. Reconciliation that used to eat 5 days got squeezed into hours because the system could match transactions, flag weird stuff, and resolve the routine mismatches without a human babysitting it. Consolidation didn't have to wait anymore. It happened continuously. That 10-day close became a 2-day close. But the biggest change wasn't speed. It was what the finance team did with the time they got back. Instead of spending that week and a half just producing history, they started answering the questions that actually moved the business forward. Not, what happened last month? But, what's likely to happen next quarter if demand drops 5%? What if raw material costs spike? What if we hire faster than planned? Not, here are the numbers. But, here's what the numbers mean, and here's what we should do next. The machine took on the mechanical work, the matching and consolidating and flagging and calculating. And the humans leaned into judgment, interpretation, advising, actual decision-making. The CFO stopped being the scorekeeper of the past and started acting like a strategist shaping the future. This season we're going function by function, looking at what AI really changes inside organizations. And we're starting with finance because finance touches everything, and honestly, this is one of the most mature areas of AI transformation right now. I'm Nakel Nikiema, and this is the Intelligence Edge. Today's episode is a panel, and I love this lineup. We've got 4 leaders who live at the intersection of AI and financial leadership. Dr. Lian Zhou has led AI-driven finance transformations across Asia-Pacific, where adoption has moved fast and the lessons are sharp. Dr. Zhou, welcome back.
Thanks, Nakel. Finance is one of those places where AI's value is really visible. You can measure it, you can audit it, and you can feel the impact quickly.
Maria Alvarez is a data governance leader who's been very clear about one thing: if the data isn't trustworthy, the AI isn't either, and in finance that's not a theoretical risk. Maria, welcome.
Thanks. And yes, in finance, governance is not a nice to have. It's the foundation of trust. If you're wrong, you can be wrong at scale.
Jonas Richter is a data ethics and compliance specialist focused on how regulation shapes what's possible with AI in finance, and what can go wrong if you pretend the rules don't apply. Jonas, great to have you.
Glad to be here. Finance is deeply regulated, and AI doesn't get a free pass just because it's new.
And Kwame Mensah is an intelligence systems architect who builds financial AI systems where accuracy, reliability, and audit trails are non-negotiable. Kwame, welcome.
Happy to join. Finance has some of the strictest requirements of any domain, so it's a fascinating place to design AI.
Alright, let's start big picture. When you zoom out, how is AI transforming finance? Dr. Zhou, map the transformation for us.
I think of it in 3 waves, and each wave builds on the previous one. First is automation of the mechanical work. Transaction processing, reconciliation, consolidation, routine reporting. This is the close that goes from 10 days to 2. The payoff here is efficiency, faster, cheaper, fewer errors. Second is augmentation of analysis. AI starts helping finance see patterns, synthesize huge datasets, run scenarios, surface insights that a human team would struggle to assemble quickly. The payoff shifts from efficiency to insight. And third is transformation of the function itself. Once the mechanical work is automated and analysis is accelerated, finance can move from reporting the past to shaping the future. That's where the CFO becomes less of a historian and more of a strategist.
So wave 1 buys time, wave 2 sharpens IQ, and wave 3 changes the identity of finance. Kwame, when you're actually building these systems, what makes finance technically different from other AI deployments?
Finance is demanding in a way that surprises people who come from less regulated or less exact domains. First, accuracy. In some areas, being roughly right is fine. In finance, a small error can become a big problem fast. A decimal point in the wrong place is not an abstract mistake. It's money, it's reporting, it's potentially a violation. Second, auditability. You need to be able to trace where numbers came from and how they were created. Regulators, auditors, boards, they all expect provenance. That limits how much you can rely on black box systems. Third, consistency. If transactions are treated differently across periods, your story breaks. Reporting requires repeatability. AI systems that drift or produce inconsistent classifications create chaos. And fourth, reliability. Month-end doesn't wait. Treasury doesn't wait. You need robust operations and fallback paths. So financial AI often uses constrained, traceable methods, even if that means less flexibility than you see with generative AI in other settings.
Maria, let's talk about the fuel for all of this. Why does data governance become so intense in financial AI?
Because the stakes are high and the data is messy. Financial data is spread across ledgers and subledgers, banking feeds, payments, expenses, revenue systems, procurement. Integration is hard, and if you integrate it wrong, AI will confidently generate bad output. It's also sensitive. These numbers reveal strategy and performance, and there are access controls and regulatory obligations around them. You can't just pipe everything into a model because it's convenient. And definitional precision is huge. What counts as revenue? When do you recognize it? How do you allocate costs? If those definitions aren't consistent, the organization ends up with multiple versions of truth. AI doesn't fix that. AI amplifies it. Without strong governance, you end up with fast wrong numbers, and fast wrong numbers are worse than slow numbers because people act on them.
Jonas, take us into the regulatory lens. What constraints shape AI in finance the most?
The big idea is simple, but people miss it. If a process is regulated, it stays regulated when you automate it. Financial reporting has standards. If AI is involved in reporting, the output has to be compliant, accurate, and auditable. Regulators and auditors are paying more attention to AI's role here. Then you have anti-fraud and anti-money laundering requirements. AI can help with detection, but it also has to meet expectations for reporting and investigation. Credit and lending is another major area. Fair lending laws apply, and biased models aren't just a reputational problem. They can be illegal. And of course, privacy and data protection regulations shape how personal financial information is handled. So the organization can't treat AI like a side experiment. It has to be inside the compliance framework from day one.
Let's get concrete now. Across the finance function, where does AI add the most value? Dr. Zhou, walk us through the map.
Sure. I'll break it into key areas. 1. Transaction processing and accounting. Matching, categorizing, reconciling, anomaly detection. This is where a lot of teams start because it's high volume and very repetitive. 2. The close and consolidation. Automating routine eliminations, adjustments, consolidation steps. This is how you enable the faster close, and for some, you start moving toward continuous close. 3. Forecasting and planning. AI can absorb more signals than a team can manually track, generate scenarios, and update forecasts more frequently. Planning becomes dynamic instead of a once-a-year event. 4. Financial analysis. AI helps synthesize and answer questions, so analysts spend less time gathering and formatting, and more time interpreting. 5. Risk management, fraud, credit risk, anomalies, emerging threats, monitoring continuously. 6. Treasury and cash. Forecasting cash flows, optimizing working capital, managing liquidity proactively. 7. Compliance and controls. Monitoring transactions and controls continuously rather than periodically. The point isn't to sprinkle AI in one corner. The shift happens when you reimagine finance end-to-end with AI as a foundational capability.
Kwame, from a maturity standpoint, what's ready now, what's getting there, and what's still frontier?
The most mature is transaction processing and reconciliation. It's well understood, and you can measure ROI and control risk. That's why it's the common entry point. Then you have maturing applications like forecasting and anomaly detection. They can be extremely effective, but you need validation and careful tuning. For example, anomaly detection needs a balance so you don't drown the team in false alarms. Emerging is where generative AI starts to change the way analysis and scenario exploration is done. It's powerful, but hallucination risk is dangerous in finance. A fabricated number in a memo can become a decision. And frontier is autonomous financial decision-making. You see it in bounded contexts like certain trading systems, but broad autonomy brings major governance issues. My advice is, start where it's mature, expand with validation, and be cautious when the blast radius is large.
Maria, does governance look different depending on where AI is applied?
Yes. Governance is always rigorous in finance, but the emphasis shifts. For transaction processing, you care about completeness, accuracy, and audit trails. Did we capture everything, categorize it correctly, and can we trace the path? For forecasting, you focus on input quality and assumption transparency. What data drove the forecast, and what assumptions are embedded? For generative analysis, you need strong source verification. Are the figures real? Are the references valid? That's where hallucination becomes a governance issue. For risk management, detection quality matters, but so does fairness. And for compliance, alignment to regulatory expectations and explainability become central.
Jonas, where do you see the biggest regulatory danger zones?
There are a few that deserve extra caution. Financial reporting is a major one. If AI output affects financial statements, errors can be misstatements with serious consequences. Controls, disclosure, auditability all need to be tight. Credit and lending is another. Bias is not just a philosophical problem there. Can directly violate fair lending laws. Trading and market activity is heavily regulated, including rules around manipulation and fair dealing. ML is huge. If your AI misses money laundering patterns and you can't demonstrate a defensible monitoring program, that's serious exposure. And if AI is giving customer financial advice, that can trigger fiduciary and suitability obligations. So yes, you can innovate, but you have to innovate inside the rulebook.
Let's zoom in on forecasting, because this is where CFOs get very interested, very quickly. Dr. Zhou, what's changing fundamentally?
Forecasting is shifting from periodic and static to continuous and dynamic. The old approach was, you produce a forecast quarterly, maybe monthly, often annually for planning. It's a point estimate, and it's built with a lot of manual work. Then the world changes, and the forecast becomes stale. AI enables continuous forecasting. As data changes, forecasts update. And instead of pretending certainty, you can present a probabilistic range, so leaders see uncertainty as part of the output, not something hidden. It's not only about getting closer to the right number. It's about responsiveness. When conditions shift, finance isn't waiting for the next cycle. Finance is reacting in near real time.
Kwame, what's under the hood of a strong AI forecasting system? What are the building blocks?
A robust setup usually has a few components working together. First, integrating multiple sources, historical financials, operating metrics, market data, economic indicators, leading signals. If you only feed it the ledger, you'll only get a ledger-shaped forecast. Second, Pattern learning. Machine learning models pick up seasonality, trends, cycles, interactions across many variables. Third, scenarios. Not one future, but multiple futures. You can simulate outcomes under different assumptions and quantify uncertainty. Fourth, continuous updates. The model refreshes as new data comes in. And fifth, explanation. Good forecasting systems can decompose what changed and why. If the forecast moved, is it demand, price, churn, FX, something else? But none of this matters without validation. If you don't measure accuracy against actual outcomes, you don't know if you've built intelligence or just built a confident-looking machine.
Maria, what does governance look like for AI forecasting specifically?
You governance the inputs, the assumptions, and the performance over time. Inputs first. What data is included, what data is excluded, and how is quality ensured? If the inputs are unreliable, you won't fix it with modeling. Assumptions next. Are they explicit, documented, and reasonable? Hidden assumptions are dangerous because you can't audit them or debate them. Then accuracy. You need ongoing measurement. Compare forecast to actuals, track errors, detect systematic bias. Models drift, business conditions drift, even definitions drift. And one more, usage governance. If you produce a probabilistic range, leaders have to treat it like a range. If everyone still clings to a single point number, you lose the benefit and keep the risk.
Jonas, where do organizations get into trouble by leaning too heavily on AI forecasts?
A few classic failure modes show up. One is false precision. The model can spit out something like 50.3 million, and humans love that extra decimal because it feels authoritative. But uncertainty didn't disappear. It's just been hidden behind formatting. Another is automation bias. If forecasts are usually right, the team stops challenging them. That's when one unusual period can hurt you because you no longer have the muscle memory of skepticism. Then there's regime change. Models learn patterns from history. When the world breaks the pattern, like a pandemic, a sudden crisis, an unprecedented demand shift, models can fail when you need them most. You also have manipulation risk. If people learn what inputs drive forecasts and forecasts drive incentives, some will try to game inputs. And finally, accountability gets fuzzy. When the forecast was wrong and a big decision followed it, you'll hear the AI said so. But responsibility doesn't transfer to the model. Leaders remain accountable.
Let's shift into risk, fraud, and control. Kwame, what changes when AI enters that world?
The biggest shift is from periodic sampling to constant coverage. Historically, controls and audits relied on samples and periodic reviews. Humans can't check everything. That means fraud is often found after the fact. With AI, you can monitor every transaction continuously, flag anomalies in real time, and connect subtle patterns across datasets that rule-based systems would miss. You get anomaly detection that learns what normal looks like and highlights deviations. You get pattern recognition that catches multi-signal fraud. You can generate predictive risk scores to prioritize investigation. And you can do continuous control monitoring, so breakdowns show up quickly, not at quarter end.
Dr. Zhou, from the business side, what's the impact when risk management gets that kind of upgrade?
It's meaningful on several levels. You reduce losses because you catch fraud and errors earlier. You also reduce manual workloads so people focus on real investigations instead of scanning endlessly. Coverage expands because you're no longer limited to samples. Speed improves because you can stop issues as they happen. And you gain insight into emerging patterns and vulnerabilities that would otherwise stay invisible. But there's a real tuning challenge. If you crank sensitivity up too high, you get a flood of false positives. That irritates customers and overwhelms teams. The sweet spot is a business decision as much as a technical one.
Maria, what governance guardrails matter most for AI in risk and controls?
You need governance for effectiveness, for false positives, for fairness, and for explainability. Effectiveness. Is it catching what it's supposed to catch? You test against known cases, you measure detection rates, and you look for blind spots. False positives: if everything is flagged, nothing is useful. You track the burden and tune it. Fairness: risk models can disproportionately flag certain groups. That becomes an ethical issue and potentially a legal one, depending on the context. Explainability and auditability: when the model flags something, you need to be able to justify why. Black box flags don't hold up well under review, and they don't feel fair to people affected.
Jonas, stay on that thread. What are the ethical tensions when AI is monitoring and flagging financial behavior?
There are several, and they're not academic. One is the presumption of innocence. A risk score can treat someone as suspicious based on probability, not proof, and that can have real consequences like frozen accounts or blocked transactions. Another is disparate impact. If certain populations are flagged more often, they experience more friction, more scrutiny, more negative outcomes, even if many individuals did nothing wrong. Then there's opacity and recourse. If you're flagged, can you learn why? Can you contest it? Systems that can't be questioned are unjust. Proportionality matters too. Are you responding in a measured way relative to the risk? Overreacting harms innocent people. And finally, there's the surveillance question. Continuous monitoring is powerful and sometimes necessary, but it must be balanced against privacy and rights. Preventing fraud doesn't justify everything.
Let's paint the end state. If we get this right, what does an intelligent finance function look like in the real world? Dr. Zhou, give us the picture.
It's a reorientation of finance. First, finance becomes continuous rather than periodic. Close activities don't pile up once a month. Forecasts refresh constantly. Insights arrive in rhythm with the business, not in a reporting cycle. Second, it becomes forward-looking. Finance spends less energy narrating what already happened and more energy helping leaders understand what's coming and what options exist. Third, it becomes strategic. Humans are not hired to reconcile spreadsheets. They're hired for judgment and decision support, and AI frees them to do that work. Fourth, finance becomes insight-rich, not just report-heavy. Instead of pushing dashboards, it answers, what does this mean and what should we do? And fifth, finance gets embedded. The intelligence doesn't stay siloed. It flows into product decisions, operational decisions, commercial decisions. Finance becomes a real strategic partner across the organization.
Kwame, what's the technical backbone that makes that possible? Not a tool here or there, but the foundation.
You need layers that work together. A unified financial data layer comes first. A real single source of truth with consistent definitions. Without that, everything else is fragile. Then an automated processing layer for transactions, reconciliation, consolidation. That's what enables continuous operations. Then an analytical intelligence layer, forecasting, scenario modeling, insight generation. Then a decision support layer, which is the last mile, getting the right insight to the right people in a usable form. And all of it needs a governance and control layer, audit trails, compliance checks, monitoring, fallback processes. The key is architecture. An intelligent finance function doesn't appear because you bought a few point solutions. It's built.
Maria, what kind of governance keeps this whole machine trustworthy over time?
You sustain trust across data, models, processes, compliance, and decisions. Data trust means continuous quality and consistency management. Model trust means you validate and monitor for drift and bias because models don't stay stable. Process trust means automation doesn't reduce auditability, it has to preserve it. Compliance trust means you keep alignment as regulations evolve. And decision trust means you maintain the right relationship between humans and AI, so the organization doesn't outsource judgment to software. Finance exists to create trust. The product is trustworthy information and insight. If AI makes things faster but erodes trust, you've broken the function.
Jonas, last piece before we go tactical. In an intelligent finance function, what's the human role? What shouldn't be automated away?
Humans become more central, but in different ways. Judgment is still essential. Interpreting meaning, weighing context, knowing what the model can't see. Strategy is human. Making trade-offs, setting direction, connecting finance to broader goals. Ethics and responsibility remain human. Relationships and trust with executives, boards, stakeholders, that's human. And accountability doesn't get automated. If AI contributes to a decision, the organization still needs a clearly accountable person. The intelligent CFO uses AI as an input to judgment, not a substitute for it.
Alright, tactical edge time. Real actions leaders can take this week. Dr. Zhou, start us off.
Measure how your finance team spends its time. Roughly, what percentage goes to mechanical work like transaction processing, reconciliation, and report production, versus strategic work like analysis, advising, and decision support? If the mechanical side dominates, that's not just a complaint, it's a quantified opportunity. AI's first wave is about shifting that ratio.
Maria.
Check whether you actually have a single source of truth for key financial metrics. Ask a simple question: do different systems produce different numbers for the same metric? If your data is fragmented, solve that foundation problem before you promise an intelligent finance future. You can't build trusted AI on conflicting definitions and disconnected systems.
Jonas.
For any finance AI you're using or planning, list the regulations that govern the underlying process. Then ask, how have we verified compliance for the AI-enabled version of that process? If the answer is vague, that's a serious risk. The rules still apply. AI doesn't change the obligation.
Kwame, bring us home.
Pick your most important forecast and ask one question: do we measure how accurate it is after the fact? If you aren't tracking forecast accuracy against actuals, you don't know whether you can trust your forecasting process, AI-assisted or not. Validation is the base layer of forecasting intelligence.
Let me tie this together. We've talked about AI transforming finance in 3 waves. First, automating the mechanical work. Second, augmenting analysis. And third, transforming finance from scorekeeper to strategist. The 2-day close is impressive, but it's not the main story. The main story is what happens when finance stops spending most of its life producing history. We also covered why finance is a special environment for AI. Accuracy isn't optional. Auditability is mandatory. Consistency is essential. Reliability is critical. And none of it works without serious data governance, because the smartest model in the world can still give you fast wrong answers if the underlying data is untrustworthy. We mapped applications across the function, from transaction processing in close, to forecasting, analysis, risk management, treasury, and compliance, with very different maturity levels depending on the use case. We went deep on forecasting and the shift from static, periodic, single-number forecasts to continuous, dynamic, probabilistic forecasting. But we also flagged the traps: false precision, automation bias, regime change, manipulation, and the temptation to blur accountability. And we got into risk and control, where AI can move you from sampling to continuous monitoring, catching more, faster, across more surface area, while raising real questions about fairness, explainability, recourse, proportionality, and privacy. The destination is an intelligent finance function that's continuous, forward-looking, strategic, insight-rich, and embedded across the organization. AI takes the computation. Humans take judgment, strategy, ethics, relationships, and accountability. Because finance touches everything, an intelligent finance function doesn't just make the CFO better. It makes the whole organization better at deciding. Dr. Lien Zhou, Maria Alvarez, Jonas Richter, Kwame Mensah, thank you for being here.
Thanks, Nakel. Great conversation.
Thank you. This was a good one.
My pleasure. Always good to bring the responsibility side into the strategy conversation.
Thanks. I enjoyed it.
Next week on the Intelligence Edge, we continue the domain series with AI for operations, the Intelligent COO. We'll look at how AI changes operational leadership, from supply chain to process optimization to decision-making at the ground level. Until then, I'm Nakel Nikiema. Make better decisions.